There will be a lot of doctrines of devils and a lot of doctrines of fake gods in the last days. These are what you go run into, all sorts of distractions that's gonna make you want to give up on chasing the truth of God. So you gotta block out these distractions. And we're gonna go to Genesis, the first chapter in Genesis. The first book of Moses is called Genesis here. A lot of people don't know that. So we're gonna put up here the first book of Moses. It's Genesis. So when we come out from that, we're gonna read verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now you can't take from this and add to this. So it's a God created the heaven and the earth. Now, God created the heaven and the earth. It didn't name any other planets here. So we're going to write a list over here of didn't name. Now we're going to move on to verse 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. No form, no void, meaning there was no type of way to live on this yet. It wasn't no air, basically. And the Spirit of God moved onto the face of the waters. Now, what that mean by he gave the world some form, and then that mean he put the face upon the waters. So that mean he on earth now. He filled up the holes in the earth with water. That's what put his face upon the waters mean. He filled it up. He filled up whatever holes was too deep. The face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved. Now, it say God created the heavens and the earth. Right? Now down here, it say on the earth, the Spirit of God. So now, we know now that God created heaven and earth. But we also know that God can take a piece of him and send it somewhere. Himself, not no son, not no daughter. It's telling you the Spirit of God, which took a piece of himself and did the rest of the work on earth for him. So basically, in the beginning, God go before the beginning though. So he's not telling us what happened before this beginning. This is where he started off us knowing. This is where y'all finna start knowing mankind started from. But this is not where God himself started from. So you gotta understand, when it say in the beginning, God himself created the heaven and the earth. The heaven mean one, the earth mean one. Okay? Now it say right here, the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now people might think that's talking about air. People might think that's talking about something invisible. But a spirit, how many times have people told you, I seen a spirit, I seen my friend that passed, so it's true that you could see these things even if they're in another timeline. So the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, which means after he made earth and heaven, God made a baby God. Not a baby Jesus. Because God's name would have been God. He had to make a mini him. Now remember, the point of today is the whole point of all, to find out and to know who and to know who's not God, because the whole point of us even trying to do what we're trying to do is right is for God, to serve God. Everything is about God, the Father. That's what people got to understand. It's not about no son. It's not about no repentance. It's about God and what he wants you to do. And if you don't do it, you're evil in his eyesight. So the third chapter here, it say, and God said, let there be light, and the light there was light. Now, God said, let there be light. So basically, God, we back to this God, not the God that was, not the Spirit of God that was on the face of the waters. We back to the God Creator now, which is saying, let there be light out his mouth. So we know God, the Creator, can make things happen with his tongue and word. We just gonna state it comes alive. Okay? Now, if we move down here, you gotta remember, we talking about a God, the Creator, that primary stays in heaven. He primary stays in heaven. That's when he sent the baby God to do the Spirit of God move upon the face of the waters. That's when he sends him to fill up them holes with water. And verse 4 here, it says, and God saw the light, and it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. Divided the light from the darkness. Now, when you think of divide, you think of separate. You think of split in half, even. When they say divide, you got to think like if you divide